The wrist lock is a submission that's almost always present in the omoplata position. Sometimes our partner is going to be able to hide their hand and we're not able to fold the wrist. But if we move through omoplata positions, like we're trying to finish and our partner defends in a certain way, sometimes that wrist is going to come out. I want you to think of it as a target of opportunity. So if you see the wrist exposed, don't hesitate to take the quick hitter finish. This is also true because sometimes some of his defenses, like rolling or like posturing up, will allow him to defend one move while exposing the other. Anytime that hand is available, we're going to wrist lock. That's why I'm showing this wrist lock a little bit early in the instructional, and I'm going to point out as we go through the defeating the defense various times when the hand could be pulled out that we could wrist lock. So before I actually show it, I'm just going to illustrate a concept, which is when we attack a joint, generally speaking, we want to control the joint above the joint. So when we're attacking an armbar, we want to have the shoulder controlled so that we can attack the elbow and hyperextend it. When we attack a wrist, we want to make sure that the elbow is controlled. So if I just try to wrist lock Eric, right? Eric, don't let me wrist lock you. Really easy. His elbow moves. If I control his elbow, right? No worries. In the omoplata, we have his elbow trapped, right? And so as soon as his wrist is exposed, then we're going to be able to get him. So simply put, let me just get you in the omoplata from here. So if so remember, we're not going to ever let go of our fundamentals here. We're either with the triangle or with our stomp, we are keeping his shoulder pinned down. But if the wrist is just exposed, all I do is control the elbow, fold it for the tap, right? Now, sometimes the guy is going to try to grab the inside of his thigh, right? And now it's hidden. No worries. We just go through our standard omoplata finishing sequence, either flattening him out for the omoplata or exposing it. If I'm unable to get this, I can sit up and just start working the same shoulder lock. One thing that I'll show, and I'll point this out later when we do the defeating the defense, if Eric goes through certain defense procedures, like maybe I let off on this pressure, and a lot of times a big strong guy is going to try and posture up strong and look at the ceiling. A lot of times his wrist is going to come out when he does that, and I can get him. I've gotten really big guys with this, and it feels really awesome to get a really big guy with a tiny wrist lock. If he's hiding his wrist again, but he rolls, a lot of times we come up right into the wrist lock because the wrist is exposed. As long as I have this elbow controlled, I have the wrist lock. Now once again, as a little bit of a preview, if he rolls and gets his elbow out, now I've got nothing. And now I have to do something else, which we'll talk about later. It's not a very complicated submission. Isolate the elbow and fold the wrist in a gooseneck position. The reason that I think it's an important one for the omoplata is if we're able to threaten this wrist lock, then you're going to get a lot of tough guys that you wouldn't otherwise get because they're so focused on you not hyper-rotating their shoulder or switching off to an arm lock that they'll let their hand become exposed for the wrist lock, the only submission other than the omoplata that matters.